found out the news you guys were headed to the college football?
I was sitting or standing at home. I was with my family, my wife, and then my three kids. So my son Taylor was pretty optimistic throughout, and then my daughters, um, Reagan, who is my oldest, and then Cameron were kind of like, "Daddy, are you okay? Are you good? Are you okay? You want to sit down?" And I was like, "No, guys, I'm gonna stand." And so we found out the news, and we actually had my mother-in-law in town as well. Her and my wife, went crazy, and the kids enjoyed it as well. So it was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, what does it mean to not only see the team get rewarded for the work they've done so far, but have the chance to perform?
You know, the thing that's the most special about it, I think, is just our guys having the opportunity to put themselves, one in a historical place, and being one of the first teams in the expanded playoff. But then two, the hard work that they've sacrificed over the past 2 years, right? Um, you've seen them this year, and you've seen how they've played and how they prepared and going into the ACC and being able to show people that they belong, as we talked about. But then you think about over the past 2 years, just the way that they've helped impact this program and change it. We all as coaches just felt like they deserved the opportunity, right? And that, you know, just because you deserve things don't mean you always get them. But we thought that they had done enough to show not only the ACC but nationally college football who they were and that they deserved that opportunity. And they kind of felt like they didn't get that chance last year, and so to see them have that opportunity this year has been amazing. And that was the thing I was most excited about. I didn't think about coaching in the game or anything like that. I just felt like the young men in my room, as well as the guys throughout the course of the team, seeing them have this chance is pretty cool.
Going back to the championship game, a couple miscues early on there where they were able to get the big touchdowns, but it seemed like the defense really locked in from there. Talk about the performance, the defense as a whole, but also specifically your runs.
Yeah, it was frustrating at the beginning just because we've done some things that we hadn't done pretty much all throughout the season, but for sure not for the past 6 to 8 weeks. And so one of the big things that has been good for us and for us to see from our guys is that they've been pretty resilient throughout the course of the year. And so for a moment, you could see that resiliency a little fractured, but then we rallied together on the sideline. We talked about one play focus, right, which is what we've talked about throughout the course of the season. Some things didn't go the way we wanted them to. We had some miscues from a defensive standpoint as well, and you still just got to go back to having it one play at a time. We can't look at the scoreboard and we can't say that we're going to get it all in one play or in one drive. But if we have a one-play focus and we're intentional about that play, and then we begin to stack those plays, it puts us in a position to be where we want it to be. And so I think that's what you were able to see from middle of the second quarter on, and then definitely in the second half for us to hone in on that one-play focus and try our best to put our team as well as our offense in a position to be there in the end. So,
What does practice kind of look like this week and next week? Obviously, you want to prep for an important game, but be aware that you guys are at a point. This long in the season have played this many games. Mm-hmm. You'll be playing more after that. How do you guys approach that?
I think for us the big positive has been that we've had some bye weeks. We had 3 on the course of the season. We've been going since the end of July. As far as being able to practice. And so we had to make sure, and Coach Lashley has always done a good job throughout the course of the season and over the past 3 seasons of making sure our guys are fresh. That doesn't mean that we're not going to practice. That doesn't mean we're not going to be physical, but we're also going to be smart. We're at a point in the season where you could be banged up and you could be missing guys, and we got a lot of key guys that are pretty healthy, and we want to keep them that way so that we can go out and be the best version of ourselves, the fastest version of ourselves. And so we've practiced the second half of the week and into next week, and try to make sure that we treat this similar to that bye week or those bye weeks, and keeping the blade sharp, but also staying healthy. And then next week is a traditional game week. You don't really change too much of anything. What you've done to this point has worked, and so now it's about focusing on being the best you that you can be.
What does the wear and tear for a cornerback look like as you go through the season? What are kind of the areas where they need to make sure that they're staying healthy and making sure that they can perform at that time?
It's a position that it's not overly rotated, right? And you're going to play 2 to 3 guys for the most part. And it's kind of like driving a car. At a certain point in time, there's some wear and tear on that car and the tread on the tires that you got to be careful of, because those guys are going to run all the time. They're going to, run when they're in coverage, run to the ball, special teams. And so being smart about the number of reps that they're taking. A kid like Brandon Crossley, this is, his 6th year, so he's a super senior, and he's played a lot of football. There are times where we'll scale back some of his reps to make sure that he can be fresh. And then there's other guys in the room that we need to make sure are ready to go in case he is worn or deuce or any of those things. And so that was one of the things that was tough in the conference championship. We were without Jalen Smoke Robinson, and his rotational piece throughout the course of the season has been pretty big for us, especially the skill set that he brings. So our guys did a really good job of gutting that game out and doing the best that they could in the second half. Like I said, made a few plays. We kind of go into that same mindset, but now we got a big piece back in Smoke. And so, we're looking forward to the challenge of, going up against Penn State. We are expecting him back. Our training staff can give you the more specifics. I coach them. I let them handle the medical part of things. But he's trending in a position where we expect him to be back and available for next week.
Can you talk about the problems that Penn State's offense poses, what we've seen on film, and particularly what Tyler Warren's able to do?
So what isn't he able to do? I think is the big thing. He affects the game in so many different ways, not just at the tight end position, but, he'll be a wildcat quarterback, he'll be a receiver. He's obviously a physical blocker, and he's just a physically imposing individual as far as when you look at him. And so to see a guy that size and that ability is something that you got to definitely take notice to. But then you also understand that they got a great quarterback, that they got receivers and running backs that help that make a formidable opponent all the way around. And so what we have to do is take the focus off of them, and okay, what do we need to do best? What positions do we need to put ourselves in to be successful? Whether it's in coverage versus Tyler Warren, whether it's in coverage versus any of the receivers on the outside, limiting quarterback, whether it's his legs or his arm. And really develop a game plan that we feel confident in. And that's one thing that we've done as a defensive staff and as a defense throughout the course of the season is come out and execute, a game plan. And now we got to do it for 4 quarters, right? Not just a half or 3.
Last question for me is just getting ready for the atmosphere at Penn State. So I guess the Oklahoma trip last year, you had a lot of success on the road, but this is kind of, it does look like a kind of new beast. Anything you guys are putting into preparation this week just to be ready for that?
Well, we'll have noise, to make sure that we're good. Now, defensively, it's a little different for us. It probably won't be quite as rowdy when their offense is on the field, except if a play is made. And so we got to limit that and be able to put ourselves in position where we can communicate and function. We take pride in doing that. From the back end to the front end with our defensive line as well, just making sure we're all on the same page. And you feel like if you got cleats in the turf at that point, you got a chance. What you can't do is have miscommunications or miscues that put you in a position where now there's a scramble or there's a guy out of place. That's how explosive plays happen. I know our offense has done a good job throughout the course of the season of being able to manage and communicate as well. And so, they have to focus probably a little bit more on the noise aspect of things when they have the ball and just making sure that we're present in the moment but not overwhelmed by it. It's an exciting situation. We look forward to it. These are things that you dream about growing up as a kid and as a player and as a coach. And so now, like I said, Coach talks to our guys quite a bit about being present. But present doesn't mean being caught up in the moment. It just means recognizing it and then being able to execute as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate y'all.